sophomore Ella Campbell. Starting at forward, a grad student, number 11, Keegan Sullivan. Starting tonight at guard, a redshirt sophomore, number 12, Claire Diener. Also at forward, a junior, number 13, Chloe Frank. And at center, a senior, number 15, Rebeca Garcia. From the McKendree University Bearcats, starting here tonight at guard, a junior, number 1, Chloe White. Also at guard, a sophomore, number 3, Emma Slings. Also tonight at guard, a senior, number 23, Macy Meyer. At forward, a sophomore, number 25, Bailey Parks. And at forward, a freshman, number 32, Kira Taylor. As far as McKendree University roster news groups, I will let you break the good news. She's not in the starting lineup, but there's somebody on the McKendree University bench who we haven't seen in quite some time, who is officially in the book and potentially could see some action here to end the season.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the last time I was up here in the broadcast booth at McKendree, Claire Braden was running up and down this court, breaking records left and right before she got injured. And ladies and gentlemen, I walked into the Harry M. Statham Sports Center with some breaking news. Claire Braden was on the court during warm-ups. She is dressed. She might be ready to go. Not quite sure what the plan is for head coach Carrie Kirchhoff and Claire Braden here tonight, as you mentioned. Not in the starting lineup, but she is in the book, which means there is a chance we could see Claire Braden on the floor here tonight. And if that happens, Josh, this team is a whole different team when Claire Braden is on the court. And you mentioned it too, you kind of saw it in the warm-ups. This team was excited to have Claire Braden back in warm-ups. So we'll see if that plays into their game here a little bit tonight. Feeds off the energy of just Claire Braden being ready to go here potentially tonight. Again, not sure if she's going to get any playing time, might get a little bit of playing time, but that could set up things for Saturday, which potentially could be our senior day matchup here for the Bearcats.
Has missed the last 8 games, the senior from Jerseyville, Illinois. So cool to see her back in uniform and potentially could be back on the floor for this Bearcat team. Really can't write the story of this season without the impact of not having her for that stretch of games. Well, it's going to be McKendree in the white, Rockhurst in the blue. As we're about to tip, Truman are up 69-58 with 1:33 left to go. So this may be the last 2 games of the season, but here at home, McKendree looking to defend home court as we are underway between Rockhurst and McKendree. Quickly up the floor, Parks left wide open, misses the layup after a late contest there on the backside by, I believe that was Diener, with a late contest for Rockhurst, and it was pivotal. Otherwise, it would have been a quick start there for the Bearcats.
Yeah, good start for the Bearcats. Win the tip-off. Get the ball quickly to Bailey Parks, who has been a great substitute here for Claire Braden on those games that she has missed. But Bailey Parks has stepped up her game immensely here for this Bearcat squad.
Parks now with it at the top of the key. We'll rotate this one over to White. Slings now. Beautiful shot fake to get inside, back out. Shot clock down to 8 as White gets into the lane. Mid-range shot. Trying to get the shooter's roll. Unable to do so. And then the scraps down low are eventually knocked out of play there by White. It will be Rockhurst basketball as they come into this one tonight. 9-15 overall, 7-11 in the GLVC, though they have won 3 in a row, including a big 65-60 win on senior day last time out versus Missouri S&T, where they outscored the Miners 20-2 in second chance points. So something that McKendree will have to be aware of here tonight as the Hawks now control things offensively the first time. On the roll, Garcia. Beautiful find back outside. The three-point shot is nothing but net there for number 10, Ella Campbell, the sophomore out of Bentonville, Arkansas. And that has surpassed her season average, only coming in to this one averaging 2.2 points per game. She gets it on that one shot.
Well, sometimes all you need is just one shot, Josh.
It was a fantastic look there. 3-0 early lead. Meyer trying to answer here from the wing. Too strong. Parks, though, gets the offensive rebound, puts it back up. She is fouled, and she's headed to the line for one more as Bailey Parks is on the board, continuing to chase records here this season. Now only needs 4 more made shots for the single-season record at the Division II era at 174 made field goals for the season, as that has been the type of year that Parks has been able to put together. She knocks down the free throw, comes in this one first in the GLVC in points per game, first in the GLVC in rebounds per game at 18.7 and 10.2 respectively. So a good start there for Parks to knot things up with the and one opportunity. Now here on the wing, this is Claire Diener, who gets it back over to Campbell. Haven't seen really an early touch for Keegan Sullivan, the team's leading scorers. Shot clock's down to 8. Fall away mid-range shot. Might have been a pass. That's what the claim will be. As there is Sullivan down low, who was able to pick up a teammate there, as that shot came from Chloe Frank. And that's going to be a name that we'll call out tonight, Keegan Sullivan. Bailey Parks first in the GLVC in double-doubles groups, and then Keegan Sullivan second in double-doubles. as Taylor there blows the layup attempt. Rebound collected that time by Garcia.
Well, I'm looking at the ROCKHURST women's basketball game notes that they provided us here, Josh, and pretty much it all just says Keegan Sullivan. In fact, I'm looking at an actual section that is just titled Keegan Sullivan. So I'm assuming Keegan Sullivan is going to be one of those names, as you mentioned, we're going to be calling a lot of here tonight for ROCKHURST.
Off the forced turnover, Parks put a little bit too much power behind that layup attempt, and now the Hawks are going to come the other way. Sullivan, the only scorer in double figures for ROCKHURST. And down on the block, we're going to get an offensive foul as Taylor, in the right spot at the right time, draws the charge, and it's back-to-back turnovers forced by the Bearcat defense.
Well, it's got the crowd going electric over here, and just looking to the right, it looks like it is the swimming and diving team that is here. They're going to be mentioned in our men's halftime performance as they're going to be getting their rings here. So it's interesting to see a lot of these teams come out here and support other teams here at McKendree.
You want to talk about numbers being put up just last week as far as the swimming and diving team is concerned. McKendree getting a lot of gold, and they will be honored here tonight at halftime. Sullivan comes away with the rebound. As maybe looking to go coast to coast here. She gets in the lane, back outside. Three-point shot, Campbell, it's good. So for Ella Campbell, she's able to knock down her first couple three-point attempts. And she leads the way with 6 points here early on for both teams.
Well, you get a hot start, Josh, and you kind of feel it, and Ella Campbell doing a great job of it.
Parks, since that and one opportunity, is now a 1 for 4 to start this game. She's had a lot of looks close to the rim, but has been unable to repeat her initial performance. Sullivan now trying to evade a couple of different Bearcat players. Slips that one inside as it was Garcia with a great look. Left it short. Here comes McKendree the other way through White. Taylor now. Almost carried there, but is able to maintain her dribble. Slings left open in the paint. And that is easy money that time for Emma Slings out of Polk City, Iowa, averaging 7.3 points per game. And last time out versus Upper Iowa, she went for 13 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists, was 3 for 4 from downtown. And we'll get a foul on the other end here against Taylor. And that'll be the first foul against McKendree. And we'll get our first substitution of the game for ROCKHURST. I believe that is number 34, Lauren Sandstrom, the freshman from Topeka, Kansas, into the game for the first time for ROCKHURST. She's into the action immediately, gets this one over to Frank. Step back, three-point attempt from Frank is too strong. Rebound, it's a long one. Parks is able to get to it first. Now breaking the other way, gets all the way into the paint, bounce pass inside. Taylor got hit, but at that point, they're going to have to put that one down as a block. Otherwise, I'm not sure what you would call that play, but McKendree happy to at least maintain possession. Seemed like there was a lot of contact there. Parks now. Going to drive on Sandstrom, freshly into the game, and she's freshly into the book with a foul, as Parks was able to get one step ahead of her, and she is headed back to the line.
Not quite how you want to be in the book for your first few minutes here in the game, Josh. You kind of want to be having points in the book instead of a foul, but it is what it is, and now Bailey Parks has a chance to get some more points to her name at the free throw line.
Knocks down the first. The first thing I would want to do is go up against the leading scorer in the conference right from the jump there. Tough ask for the freshman, as Parks, throughout the course of the season, has really been able to add to her point total. She's shot nearly 83% from the line, and she's able to knock down both there. George Duncan will check in for the first time here tonight for Chloe White. Again, Parks having an amazing season. Mentioned she leads the league in double-doubles with 12. She has scored 11 points or more in every game this season. She has not had a game in single digits.
Well, it's amazing to see the evolution of Bailey Parks. She just came in here, and she seemed like she knew what her role was for this Bearcat squad. She's kind of filled that role perfectly, as we mentioned, kind of filling in for that Claire Braden missing those games with the injury. And as we mentioned, Bailey Parks is doing a great job as she comes up with the steal right there.
Right on cue. Now she's looking for an assist. Hopefully here's Meyer ahead of the pack. Up and in with the left hand. Great defense. Turns into offense for McKendree as they take the lead on that shot.
Matter of minutes, Bailey Parks goes from points to steal to an assist. I call that a successful of a few minutes there, Josh.
Leads the team with 40 steals coming in tonight, 1.7 per game, also with 22 blocks. Second with 59 assists, so make it 60 on the season for Parks, who comes up with another rebound. Obviously, McKendree going to be disappointed to miss out on the postseason, but you got to think Parks will be up there as far as Player of the Year conversation is concerned. And I was telling Max Bennett last time we were on the air, if there was a most improved player category, she would take it. into stride. Speaking of, Taylor there with a nice finish down low. It's a 3-point lead for McKendree.
Yeah, they are very high on this freshman out of Davenport, Iowa, as Taylor just doing a great job of fitting in with this Bearcat squad. I'm excited to see how she looks here in the years coming.
Sandstrom able to knock down the three-pointer to tie things up at 11. So early on here for Rockhurst, some great three-point shooting, as you've gotten 2 from Campbell and now 1 from Sandstrom, but McKendree able to go right back down the floor and regain the lead.
Yeah, easy layup there by Georgia Duncan, the junior out of Washington, Illinois, just going down there and throwing it up.
Campbell left open in the corner, another three-pointer, this one off to the right. Rebound, Taylor eventually wins out for McKendree. Almost went 3 for 3 there to start from downtown, but Bearcats thankful to see that one go out. Parks now, she's bumped, and she finishes regardless. Another and one opportunity for Bailey Parks, who's got 7 early points to lead the way for McKendree.
Ladies and gentlemen, have we mentioned that Bailey Parks is just a sophomore this year? She is going to be incredible here in her last 2 years for McKendree.
Parks has made it look like a walk in the park so far in this one. McKendree up by 4 with 3:54 left to go in the first. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back here on the GOVC Sports Network. Alrighty, folks, welcome back on the GOVC Sports Network. Teased it a little bit, but going to directly come out and say a final score in Indianapolis. Truman State clinched the final spot in the GOVC tournament, winning by a score of 72-61 over the Greyhounds of UIndy, who were also mathematically still in it tonight prior to that result. So congratulations to the Bulldogs, and congrats to the teams who have qualified on the women's side for the GOVC tournament as Parks completes the three-point play with that free throw. So Group's obviously very tough. I don't know how much McKendree know about it right now. They got a game to play, but obviously, as far as things stand, not how McKendree would have wanted it, but still a lot to play for here, closing things out at home.
Well, I'm sure head coach Carrie Kirchhoff has kind of kept that in the back of her mind of not paying attention to the score. They're going to focus on tonight's game and then kind of go on with that, I would assume. But Bearcats have to just kind of finish the job here this season. Finish it, as we mentioned, with some wins, end this season on a high note, and kind of look to next year and see what this Bearcat squad has in store for us.
White guilty of the travel. She's back in the game. A lot to like about as far as the future is concerned. You mentioned Parks is a sophomore. Taylor's a freshman. We now get our first look tonight at Taylor Foey, who has checked into the game for the first time. Another freshman. Tessa Crawford, has been involved as well as a freshman. So that's just the freshman class pretty much as a whole. There's a lot of potential returning production coming back next year that you would think is going to lend itself to McKendree righting the wrong and getting themselves in the GOVC tournament.
Yeah, and this Bearcat squad, either the women's side or men's side, do a great job of recruiting. Head coach Carrie Kirchhoff has some flyers out there. I know she's probably excited to see some new fresh blood come into this Bearcat squad.
Bowie able to knock down the two, but I'll tell you what, nobody's doing better what Elle Campbell's doing right now. She's knocked down 3 3-pointers. Bearcats, though, able to answer at least with the 2 to go back up by 4. Hawks dumping this one inside as they'll rotate this one back up to number 1, Avery Porter, in for the first time here tonight. This is Sullivan, though. The step-back 3-pointer off to the right. Parks picks up what is already her 4th rebound. So she's already got 8 and 4, working on what would be her 13th double-double of the season.
Well, we're talking about double-doubles here in the first? Ooh, it's going to be one of those nights, isn't it, Josh?
I think so, and you could say that a lot of times this season for Bailey Parks. I mean, most recently she had, I think it was 17 rebounds. It was a career high last week versus Quincy to go along with 24 points. So She makes it a habit. So too does Emma Slings when she's afforded that space inside as she knocks down the mid-range J. 6-point lead here. Under 2 minutes left to go in the first for McKendree. And right on cue, Slings with the defensive play, trying to outrun a couple of different Rockhurst players. Able to do so, but lacked the finishing touch there at the rim. Left it short. Now here come the Hawks.
Makes a great move to the basket. Just can't quite finish, as you mentioned. And there you go. Bailey Parks with another steal.
Parks again, bowling a China shop all the way to the rim and puts it home. Already a double-digit performance, so continuing that streak this year of having nothing but double-digit scoring performance this season. Bailey Parks once again has helped McKendree get out on the right foot, up 8 points here early on. And Sandstrom has it right now for Rockhurst. Sullivan has had a lot of looks, but has lacked the finishing touch here so far, but she looks as though it might be headed to the foul line there after that last attempt. As we're going to get almost feels like a hockey line substitution here for both teams. Taylor will check back in for McKendree. Tessa Crawford and number 5, Addie Denny, will check in for the first time tonight for the Bearcats. In for the first time tonight, number 4, Akeli Felici for Rockhurst, along with number 24, Sadie Conway. Out there with Garcia, Sullivan, and Avery Porter for right now. I mentioned Keegan Sullivan, the grad student out of South Bend, Indiana. Misses that first free throw. Comes in tonight leading the team with 15.7 points per game and a team-high 8.3 rebounds per game. Career-wise, 5th all-time in Rockhurst history with over 1,600 points. Needs 13 here tonight to move into 4th place, and she's 3rd in program history with 831 rebounds. So as far as that blurb you were talking about in those notes, that's why she is commanding that much of the page there. She has given it her all over the course of a very lengthy and very successful career for the Hawks.
Yeah, and just looking at more of the notes, coming in at 78.5% at the free throw range. So that's one of the players you probably want to keep away from the free throw line here tonight.
Crawford now gets into the lane. Beautiful finish there as Tessa Crawford turns on the Jets and picks up her first basket of the game. And we're going to get a timeout from head coach Larry Park in Rockhurst. Not happy about that last defensive effort as McKendree back out on top by 9 points. And so far here tonight, shooting over 50% from the field, 10 for 19 overall. Don't have a three-pointer yet, but when you're making that many baskets at the rim, you'll take it every day of the week.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't need the three-point game to be part of your game. And the Bearcats do a great job of just getting the ball around. And if you can't find that three, you go in and drive it into the paint, make some twos, and the Bearcats do a great job of that. But again, it's another of those key pieces of Claire Braden not being on the court for McKendree. Braden being a lot of those three-point shots for you, or when she has those opportunities. So the Bearcats have kind of had to shift their momentum and their focus of how do we want to play our game now away from Claire Braden. And this team has done a great job of just driving it into the paint and getting easy buckets like that.
Bearcats going to send out Macy Meyer to pick up full court here just a little bit. Maybe going to set up a little bit of a trapping style 1-3 run of sorts here, are McKendree, as this ball is dumped into the post for Garcia back outside. This is Felici with the three-point shot. It's good. And that is what has been keeping Rockhurst within sniffing distance of McKendree as they knock down another one from long range over there in the corner.
Yeah, they're doing a great job of finding those threes. And as you mentioned, Josh, that's what's kept them in this game right now. If they don't make those, it could have been a long night here for Rockhurst.
Off the turnover, the shot clock will turn off here. Hawks playing a little bit quick as they rotate this one over to the far side. Now they'll slow things down, get this one to Porter. Under 10 seconds left here in the first. Porter's looking for a screen. Poking and prodding this 1-3-1. Back outside, the three-point shot. It's good from Frank. And that is a heck of a close there by the Hawks off the timeout. They force some turnovers. They pick up a couple of threes. And all of a sudden, a game that McKendree was looking to control going into the second, have themselves only up by 3, 24-21. Folks, we're going to take a break here and get you all ready for the second on the other side. Don't go away. Welcome back, folks, on the GOVC Sports Network. It's a one-possession game as we move into the second quarter between McKendree and Rockhurst. The Hawks coming to this one fourth in the GOVC, averaging 7.3 threes per game. They've already got 6 on 60% shooting from downtown, including 2 there to end the quarter and bring themselves back into very close distance between them and McKendree.
Yeah, the threes have been falling for Rockhurst. We'll see if McKendree can tighten down on that, or if Rockhurst continues to nail some of those. Might be a problem here for the Bearcats.
McKendree going to come right back out in that trapping defense of theirs as the ball is rotated to the far corner. Felici, nice baseline drive, trying to get this one to Garcia, who fumbled it a little bit under some pressure, able to maintain possession though. Porter off the shot fake, the floater, it's a beautiful one. How about that? Excellent technique that time shown by the sophomore out of Ankeny, Iowa, Avery Porter.
Yeah, we talked about the threes falling for Rockhurst, and that time they just go with the easy floater right there.
Taylor flings this one back outside. Crawford now in the lane, too strong on the mid-range shot from the free throw line. And here comes Rockhurst. Hawks right now been on a very successful run as Porter got right into lane, too strong on the floater, but it's Garcia proving to be a menace on the offensive glass, able to draw a foul down low, and the Hawks will get another bite at the apple here. Slings is going to check in for Crawford. Garcia, senior out of Madrid, Spain, averaging 9.5 points per game and 7 rebounds per game. Also comes in this one leading the team with 44 blocks. That's good for nearly 2 a game at 1.8. One of the top shot blockers in the conference. Second in blocks per game. Trying to put together some points here. She is able to catch that one. A tough feed, but she was able to corral it and picks up 2 points. And all of a sudden, the Hawks out to a lead. Bit of a miscommunication right now on the defensive end. Rockhurst eventually able to get back as this one's inside. Taylor is hacked, but she couldn't finish through contact, but she's headed to the line for 2 free throws. Well, for Kira Taylor, having a phenomenal first year with the Bearcats, averaging nearly 11 points per game, 4.3 rebounds per game. She scored a season high of 22 points versus Truman State. That was the first of 10 straight games in double figures. But over the last couple games on the road last week, as she knocks down the first free throw, she struggled. She scored 8 combined points on 2 for 13 shooting against Quincy and Upper Iowa. Tough competition out there, of course, on the road. But regardless of those games, Taylor misses the second free throw there, but nice rebound by Parks. Goes right back up with it. Beautiful reverse layup there by Parks to pick up Taylor. But just to wrap things up there, Taylor's had a great first season. Has really picked up the slack since Braden went out. But the three-pointers continue to fall. That time it's Felici, who averages 3.3 points per game, only shooting 21% from three-point range. But whatever was in that pregame meal for the Hawks obviously had some three-point shooting magic in it, as she's able to knock down a 3.
Yeah, somebody ate their Wheaties here today for the Rockhurst Hawks, as they have just been coming out shooting threes. They have not missed a lot of those here this afternoon.
Yeah, they're cooking with gas from downtown. They're 7 or 11 from three-point range, as Parks blows that one at the rim, and the Hawks are able to come away with the rebound. Porter now goes heads up with their opposite number 1 and White. Now gets this one to Sullivan. Cool matchup between her and Meyer, one of the top defensive options for McKendree. Garcia now with the shot clock at 7. This is Diener. Loses the handle. Taylor picks up the loose ball ahead to Parks. Another layup. No, left it short. Her momentum was carrying her towards the baseline. She couldn't come up with the right angle on that shot off the backboard. The other way, inside. Garcia goes up. She was fouled, and she's headed to the line.
Yeah, Bailey Parks just a little disappointed with herself on that previous play. She thought she had an easy 2 points. As you mentioned, the momentum just kind of taking her away from the basket. And now she's going to go get a breather on the bench. But what a night so far for Bailey Parks. And we're only in the second quarter, Josh.
12 points, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, all lead the way for McKendree, as Garcia is able to knock down that free throw, shooting 71% from the line. Has posted 3 double-doubles this season. She had 15 points and 10 rebounds in the first meeting versus McKendree. So one of those 3 double-doubles was against the Bearcats there at home. It was a great game there in Kansas City. It was a 66-61 affair won by the Bearcats, who held Rockhurst to 36.5% shooting and 6 for 26 shooting from 3. It's going to be very difficult to get to those numbers here tonight, considering that they've already gotten 7 threes, but they keep sending it inside. Foey now joins in on the party. She finishes through contact, and she is headed to the line for one more. The freshman out of Quincy, Illinois, averaging 5.6 points per game. Remember, she missed a few games earlier on the season, but since she has come back, her minutes have continued to increase, and she has played a pivotal role in keeping the line moving as far as post players are concerned for the Bearcats.
Well, Josh, we talked about the future of the Bearcats. Foe is going to be one of those key factors here for McKendree as next year rolls around.
And 8 points in the last versus Illinois Springfield, one of her top performances this season. 12 versus Washburn. Picked up a big basket there. Now we're going to get a foul late there on that trap, and I do believe they're going to get Macy Meyer there, as that'll be her first foul. Taylor's going to check out as Duncan joins the likes of Slings, Meyer, White, and Foey out there. Diener, the one inbounding the ball for Rockhurst. Out there with Sullivan, the hot shooting Campbell here so far tonight, Felici, and Garcia, who has been starting to make her presence felt inside. This is Felici now. The shot clock at 10. Slings with their step for step. Lofted pass. Foey able to leap up highest to tip that to herself. And now McKendree trying to break the other way. Duncan into the lane. Tough finish. She was fouled. And the Bearcats continue to find themselves at the charity stripe. This time it's Duncan forcing the issue.
Yeah, the Bearcats doing a great job of getting those steals quickly going on the other side of the court and making Rockhurst have to kind of backtrack and kind of get on their level, and that's what's caused these fouls the last few times here for McKendree, and now opportunity to get some points here at the free throw line.
Georgia Duncan averaging an even 5 points per game coming into tonight, and 85% shooter so far from the line this season. Makes me look good as she knocks down both free throws. Also averaging 3.3 rebounds per game, and a season high of 12 points versus Lewis earlier this year. White will check on out with Parks back in for McKendree. Now off the screen, Rockhurst quickly trying to initiate the offense here through Chloe Frank. Rotated to the far side. Felici now. Step back three-pointer on Slings, and it's nothing but net. What a tough shot there by Felici from a long range with Slings over her for a brief moment. Got the separation needed for another three-pointer.
Just when you think Rockhurst cannot just make any threes, they continue to just drive that ball, find some open space. All it took was a second for Felicia to make that, and it just made it look that easy.
Felici and Campbell each with 3 3-pointers so far in this game. Campbell 3 for 4, Felici 3 for 3. As the team as a whole is 8 for 12, and she gets a lot of handshakes and congratulatory remarks from her teammates as she heads to the bench. Parks was able to force a foul inside. Slings now gets it back in bounds for McKendree. Now they'll dump it inside. Foey met with some resistance. Parks on the offensive glass, and with that shot, congratulations to Bailey Parks, who sets the new single-season record for the Division II era for McKendree with 174 made field goals on the season.
A round of applause in our broadcast booth for Bailey Parks. She's not paying attention to us as she normally doesn't, but congratulations to Bailey Parks on that achievement, and we've got plenty more for her probably here as the future continues to move on.
She's not paying attention to us because Rockhurst went right back down the court and was able to pick up the 2 points right back. This has been a beautiful game from a neutral perspective as far as the pace is concerned. Parks right back to work in her house on the low block, and she draws another foul, this time against Sullivan. And she is headed back to the line, where so far tonight she is 4 for 4.
Well, considering how things started in the first quarter, Josh, it looked like McKendree had a little bit of that momentum. They were running kind of away with this game, but as you've mentioned, those three-point shots that Rockhurst continues to hit, especially at the end of that first, has kind of kept them in this game a little bit closer and closer, and now we're all tied up here at 35.
A little shocking as Parks knocks down both free throws. McKendree's opponents came tonight shooting 29.3% from the field. That was good for fourth best defensive mark in the GLVC, but mentioned that Rockhurst were fourth as far as average amount of threes made, and so far here this evening, it's been a little bit more of an uptick from the Hawks as far as those numbers are concerned.
It's a little give and take, a little balance, and both teams just doing kind of what they want to do here at this point.
Frank now. Her momentum stopped by Parks. Partially got a tip on that ball. As shot clock now down to 10. Garcia's battling down low with Drendel, who's doing an excellent job so far. Frank now, tough shot in the lane, another air ball, and this time nobody from McKendree tapping that one out. It will be Bearcat basketball. So finally a defensive stop there for McKendree.
Yeah, the Bearcats defense doing a great job of just making each team that has to come in here work to try and get that shot. They do a great job of draining that shot clock, and eventually they're going to have to find a shot. And when you have to find that shot, you get a little bit of nervousness, and maybe you start taking some bad shots here, but great job here by the Bearcats defense.
It'll be a kick ball. McKendree will take this one out on the baseline as Felici is going to check back in for Frank. As this ball back in to Addie Denny. Parks now. Partially bobbled it. Now, bit of a miscommunication there as Meyer was cutting in. That one was headed over her head. Able to get a piece of it, though. Shot clock down to 8. Slings, realizing the situation, is going to turn on the Jets. Can't get around Sullivan, though. Trying to draw the foul. No whistle comes, but on the backside, it will go against Denny for an over-the-back foul. So Rockhurst able to match the previous McKendree defensive possession with one of their own. And that whistle with it at 4:43 left to go in the second will get us to our media timeout. We got a good one, folks. It's just a one-point game. McKendree up on Rockhurst. We'll be right back here after this. Welcome back, folks, on the GLVC Sports Network. This is the 15th meeting between McKendree and Rockhurst dating back to 2014. The Hawks lead the series 8-6, but this one as good as the previous matchup here earlier on the season. It was a 66-61 win for McKendree in Kansas City back in December. McKendree have won the last two matchups, but it's still very much a flip of the coin here at this point in this game as to who is going to win the next time around here between these two teams.
Yeah, that's what a lot of these GLVC matchups are, just pretty much a flip of the coin. You can't really say who's going to win, who's going to lose, because both teams just come out and they go neck to neck.
Nice roll there by Garcia, but she was quickly met by a couple of McKendree players in the lane, and the Bearcats eventually do the job as far as stopping that shot, and they will take up the basketball underneath the basket. With it being Duncan, Slings, White, Parks, and Meyer out there on the floor, met by Campbell, Sullivan, Diener, Felici, and Garcia right now for Rockhurst. It look as though they're going to drop a little bit back into a 2-3 zone of sorts. Maybe a bit of a matchup style zone as Parks now gets it inside. One power dribble inside. Again, got to a good spot, but met with a little bit of resistance at the last second and couldn't put in the layup. So she's now 5 for 11 from the field so far here tonight. Felici now. We see White closely in on her. Garcia able to get loose inside. It's a nice finish with the left hand for 2 more points for the visitors.
Hawks regain the lead, and as you mentioned, Josh, this has kind of just been a great back-and-forth battle between these two teams.
In and out, back outside. White, the three-pointer, too strong, and then the rebound eventually bounces towards Diener. Rockhurst, Garcia was left open, but unable to come up with the ball. Felici strips that one away from Parks. Too strong, though, on the layup attempt. Bodies flying everywhere. And it's McKendree coming away with the basketball. Slings now. Nice shot fake. Gets into the lane. And Garcia comes in. Was able to go straight up, though. Didn't go too far into the body to pick up a foul. And Rockhurst, again, able to come up with the stop versus McKendree. just feels like it's one of those games where with whatever team does something at one end, it's matched by the other team at the other.
Yeah, both teams have done a great job on the scoring-wise of things and on the defensive side of things, just kind of trying to balance each other out.
Shot clock down to 6. Partial double team by McKendree, and it's going to be a whistle there late on with the reach. I do believe they're going to get that one. Will go against Duncan on the backside of things. And the next foul will put ROCKHURST in the bonus. McKendree right now are already there with 5 fouls against the visitors. That foul will go against Duncan. Excuse me, that will be the 5th foul. So both teams in the bonus for the remaining 2:34 left in the second. Or nope, I was right the first time. I got to trust my instincts next time. As actually it looks as though the question of whether or not that was 4 or 5 fouls is up to debate right now at the scorer's table. Good time to mention a little bit more about the coaching matchup here tonight. Kerry Kirchhoff, 10th season in charge of the Bearcats, second longest tenured coach in program history, the reigning GLVC Coach of the Year, assisted by Tara Helm and Allison Pearson in their second years respectively as an assistant coach and a graduate assistant coach. As ROCKHURST in the bonus, and that one from Diener missed the first time around. For ROCKHURST, Larry Park in his 16th season in charge of the Hawks has 169 career victories coming into tonight. He's assisted by Mike Park, Brian Moeller, who's also the head golf coach and a former two-sport athlete at ROCKHURST, and then graduate assistants Allison McFerrin and Sophie Leinfelder.
Basket there by the junior, Georgia Duncan. Gives the Bearcats their lead, 38-37 here with just a little over 2 minutes left.
Diener trying to go all the way. Nice defense at the last second by Parks. Offensive rebound, though, for Garcia, and we're going to get a jump ball inside. Nice response after the offensive board, but you can see Coach Kirchhoff not happy about the fact that there was an offensive rebound to begin with. And again, it just seems as though, especially Garcia, she is a tough customer inside, stands in at 6'3". But there's been a few different ROCKHURST players tonight that have been able to pick up some offensive rebounds. And Coach Kirchhoff's message, if it's not resonating with their players, it's certainly resonating with the fans here inside the Harry M. Staples Sports Center. Gets a nice round of applause.
Yeah, a round of applause from her teammates on the bench, a round of applause from the swimming and diving team, and just a matter of minutes for Coach Kirchhoff to just kind of sound off. And we've seen Coach Kerry Kirchhoff do that here every Bearcats game, where not a call going her way, and she's just going to let everyone know her piece of mind there.
So on the possession arrow, it was McKendree basketball. Just, again, rechecking things there at the scores table. So the arrow will flip now as the ball's rotated to the corner. White, though, unable to keep it in play as she steps out. And it'll be a turnover, and for ROCKHURST fans, maybe a ball don't lie moment, but they will take the possession here for now. And we're going to get our first glimpse of number 45, Cristina Lucan, the sophomore from Guadalajara, Spain, who will check in for Garcia. So Spaniard for a Spaniard here, as Lucan has scored 24 points and grabbed 22 rebounds across 15 games so far this season. White able to come over with the steal, and it will be a jump ball, and ROCKHURST, I'm sure, very happy to have the arrow going their way now, as you almost feel as though that could have been a travel, could have been, and it is a jump ball in the end. So Hawks do more than enough in the end to make up for the turnover at midcourt.
Well, the Bearcats swimming and diving team here to the right of us, again, those guys will be getting their rings at the halftime performance for our men's basketball squad. I think the referees might have missed a little bit of a trip there for ROCKHURST, and that's why they're giving the refs a piece of their mind. Again, another call going against McKendree, so they will be hearing that a lot here tonight from the swimming and diving team here for the Bearcat squad in the student section.
That will go against Parks, and that is her second. So she's done a good job, because there have been some games this season where Parks has gotten into some early foul trouble. Only you get to 2 with a minute 34 left to go in the second is a pretty admirable job, but she's going to hit the bench anyway, as Foey will check in for her, again, with Cristina Lucan at the line. She's a transfer from Trinidad State, where she averaged 8.9 points per game and 8.2 rebounds per game over 2 seasons. And she only played in 3 games last year. She misses the first free throw, but it was a very impressive 3 games. She averaged 14.3 points per game and 15.3 rebounds per game, including 23 points and 17 rebounds versus Clarendon College. Able to knock down the second free throw there. So hasn't seen too much time making the jump up here to ROCKHURST, but still, as far as experience is concerned, someone who has been used to get things done offensively and defensively. Foey now with a lot of space inside, able to get another and one. Almost like taking candy from a baby there. Foey looked around in the paint and realized nobody was home and helped herself to 2 points and is at the line for one more.
There's candy here? When was that an option, Josh?
That was as good as candy as you're going to get, especially if you're a post player. But bucket's tough to come by in certain areas, but Foey gets it done with another and one. Make it 8 points tonight for Foey. That's the second best total on the team behind Parks. And it's back to a 3-point lead here for McKendree. You got to say they've done a much better job of defending the 3-point arc here. Rockhurst haven't really had any looks over the last few minutes. As looking, she's left open. She'll fire from 3-point range. That one's short, and rebound collected by Duncan.
Well, speaking it into existence, Josh, things will happen, but as you mentioned, McKendree doing a good job of just keeping Rockhurst from not taking too many threes here in the second quarter.
White now, dribble penetration inside. Guess who? It's Foey. As she's now up to double figures. Make it 10 tonight on 4 for 5 shooting for the freshman out of Quincy, Illinois. Hawks not going too quickly here for a potential 2 for 1. White doing an excellent job there on Porter to force it out of her hands. Now Diener. Porter gets it back. See White trying to force it onto her left. Foey able to come up, get a deflection. Ball still loose. Shot clock's down to 5. Hawks now. Tough shot there by Diener. Foey comes away with the rebound. Some great minutes here tonight by Foey. 10 seconds now. McKendree get this one to Duncan. Mid-range shot. It's good. 7-point lead here for McKendree. Will they take it with them into halftime? 1 on the clock. The half-court heave is no good. And what a run there at the end by McKendree to finally give themselves some breathing room. For the Bearcats, make it a 7-0 run there to close things out in the second quarter. Much needed. An opposite flip there of how they finished in the first.
Yeah, Rockhurst doing a great job of taking the last shot, making it count for them in the first quarter. McKendree doing the same exact thing here in the second. Get that shot, get that momentum kind of back in their favor as they lead 45-38 heading to halftime. Josh, good, exciting first half of basketball here between Rockhurst and McKendree. Do we expect the same here in the second?
I sure hope so.
I sure hope so, too.
Great pace so far here in this one between these two teams, but McKendree there at the last minute able to get themselves out to a 7-point lead. Well, folks, we're going to step away here at halftime, but we will check back in here in just a few minutes to go over some halftime statistics. Busy night, of course, in the GLVC. We know the 8 teams. Where they're seated, we still have no clue, so we'll give you some score updates to give ourselves a better picture of what to expect next week and Lindenwood. And then, of course, folks, we will get you all ready for the third and fourth quarters. It's been a good one. McKendree, though, out to a 7-point lead, 45-38 here at halftime. Thank you for watching on the GLVC Sports Network. We'll be back after this break.
We're there to serve, make sure we're creating a fair atmosphere for both teams, upholding the integrity of the game.
I chose to be an official. It's the best decision I've made.
In life, things aren't scripted. Games aren't pre-scripted. You know, I got into officiating because my father was an official. Officiating was part of our family life. It wasn't just the game.
Get to be outside, get to experience the game. It's so much more fun. You can get a lot out of it.
If you're an athlete, we need people like you and translate those skills to officiating.
It helped me become not only a better official, but a better person.
It happens in every town, in every game.
We never have a perfect game, but the rewards always outweigh the negativities.
And it's just been wonderful.
court, to court and lane, to lane, under the lights, or under the sun. No one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub, with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
Are you ready to make an investment in yourself? McKendree University is the answer. Nationally ranked McKendree University offers a personalized and supportive educational experience to maximize each student's potential. McKendree's Clear Path initiative guarantees lower tuition rates and fees, providing Bearcats a clear path to graduating with less debt. It's private education at a public school price. Enroll today at mckendree.edu.
All right, folks, welcome back here on the GLVC Sports Network. Still here at halftime, the score 45-38, McKendree ahead of Rockhurst. Alongside my partner, Alex Gruberman, I am Josh Bean. Let's take a look at the halftime statistics so far for this matchup. McKendree doing an excellent job shooting-wise. They're shooting 50% from the field, 17 for 34 overall. They're also a near-perfect 11 for 12 at the line, and they've been able to force 10 turnovers tonight out of Rockhurst versus just 4 on their end. But the problem has been for McKendree, especially early on in this matchup, was the hot shooting from downtown by Rockhurst, who are 8 for 14 from three-point range, already exceeding their average over the course of this season of 7.3. And that's really how they've been able to keep themselves in this matchup groups. As far as defensively down the stretch, McKendree doing a lot better job of holding Rockhurst and getting out to that three-point line, and then there was that nice little 7-0 run there at the end, led by Taylor Foey, you have to say, as far as closing things out on the positive for McKendree into halftime.
Yeah, the Bearcats doing a great job of ending that second quarter, ending the half on the right note for the Bearcats. They, as you mentioned, a 7-0 run, kind of getting away from Rockhurst there, as you mentioned. Those three-point shots were very, very key for the Hawks in that first quarter. McKendree coming out of a different style of defensive-wise in the second to kind of shut him down. But it has been Taylor Foey doing a great job of stepping up for this Bearcat squad. But it's the name of Bailey Parks. And again, she has been all over the court here tonight for the Bearcats, doing a fantastic job. On the other hand, for Rockhurst, you know, the name we mentioned a little bit that we expected a little bit more out of was number 11, Keegan Sullivan, the graduate out of South Bend, Indiana. Just kind of, you know, not doing her job as, you know, being that top person we've expected. As we mentioned, Rockhurst given us a whole game notes sheet of it and a whole section for Keegan Sullivan, just kind of talking about how great she's been this season. Hasn't kind of been that factor for the Hawks here in this first half. We'll see if she steps it up in the second half, and if McKendree can still kind of keep her shut down.
Yep, only 3 points so far tonight. Does have 5 rebounds, but she's been picked up by her teammates. Rebecca Garcia with 8.6 rebounds, 9 points apiece for Akili Felici and for Ella Campbell, each off of 3 made 3-pointers. Have been huge here tonight for Rockhurst to keep this one in game. A lot of games going on here tonight in the GLVC. Of course, the last week of the regular season. We know the 8 teams that will be in, thanks to Truman State's win earlier tonight versus the Greyhounds of UIndy. As far as some of that seeding is concerned, Maryville are going to be involved. They're up 58-49. 9:30 left to go in the fourth quarter at home against Southwest Baptist. A big one here tonight. You've got Drury on the road against UMSL. 8:42 left to go in the third quarter. Panthers are up by 8, 31-23. That is a 3 seed versus a 4 seed as things currently stand as far as the point rating system. The big one, of course, though, number 1 versus number 2. Lewis right now taking on the Hawks of Quincy University, who have been on absolute fire, but they have run into a little bit of a wall to start this game. They find themselves down by 12 at halftime versus the Flyers there in Romeoville. Would be a huge win for Lewis to maintain that number 1 seed, and would be a huge win for loss for Quincy, and a huge win there for Drury potentially as they're looking to move up into that 2 seed. But this is the game I've got my eye on right now, groups, as far as things are concerned. Lincoln, in their first year in the GLVC, they've lost 24 straight games. They have not won a GLVC contest this year. They're up by 15 right now against Missouri S&T at home with 8:38 left to go in the third quarter. That would be awesome. Something that has been, well-deserved as far as Lincoln is concerned, finally getting something to celebrate after what has been a difficult first year in the GLVC. But for right now, having a heck of a contest there versus the Miners.
Hey, anything can happen on any given day that ends in Y, Josh. So why not have Lincoln just, come out and potentially win their first GLVC contest at home in front of their home crowd against Missouri S&T.
And that would be huge, a blow to the Miners, who are just ahead of the likes of Upper Iowa and Truman. Truman's already got the win. Upper Iowa are idle here tonight as they will wait to take on the Flyers of Lewis on Saturday. So you could see Missouri S&T maybe slip a little bit with that loss. So that's something they're going to want to try to take care of here as they move into the third and fourth quarters. Folks, we're going to step away for one more break, but on the other side of things, it'll be time for the third quarter as we've got a good one so far. McKendree up by 7, 45-38 on Rockhurst. We'll be right back in just a few short moments on the GLVC Sports Network.
Are you ready to make an investment in yourself? McKendree University is the answer. Nationally ranked McKendree University offers a personalized and supportive educational experience to maximize each student's potential. McKendree's Clear Path initiative guarantees lower tuition rates and fees, providing Bearcats a clear path to graduating with less debt. It's private education at a public school price. Enroll today at mckendree.edu. Are you ready to make an investment in yourself? McKendree University is the answer. Nationally ranked McKendree University offers a personalized and supportive educational experience to maximize each student's potential. McKendree's Clear Path initiative guarantees lower tuition rates and fees, providing Bearcats a clear path to graduating with less debt. It's private education at a public school price. Enroll today at mckendree.edu.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back here on the GLVC Sports Network. About ready to get things back underway here between McKendree on Rockhurst. The final 2 games of the season for the McKendree women's basketball team, both of them here inside the Harry M. Stathan Sports Center. These two battled to a very impressive close matchup, 66-61, back in December at Kansas City. It does seem as though we may be on our way to another tight finish between these two teams, but a 7-0 run there at the end of the second quarter gave McKendree the breathing room they've been searching for so far in this game. Led by Bailey Parks in her 16 points and 6 rebounds. Taylor Foey 2 points away from tying her season high of 12 points. She's got 10 on 4 for 5 shooting. 8 points so far from Georgia Duncan on a perfect 3 for 3 from the field and 2 for 2 from the line. I mentioned those 9 points from Ella Campbell and from Achille Felici so far for Rockhurst. 8 points for Rebeca Garcia. As far as the top scorers in that regard, Garcia also leading the way with 6 rebounds. As the pace has been great, the scoring has been great. Contrast of styles, Rockhurst have gotten it done with the 3-point ball. McKendree have been pounding the rock inside, getting a lot of good looks for the likes of Parks, Taylor, Foey, and the company. And still everything to play for here going into this third and fourth quarter with the Bearcats, again, trying to move off of that 500 mark in the GLVC, coming in at 99 so far this season. 8-3 so far at home this year. And they're trying to push that to double digits if they are able to pick up wins here tonight and on Saturday, on Senior Day versus Southwest Baptist, as we are back underway. Bearcats open with their first possession here as they get this one inside to Taylor. Couple dribbles, beautiful spin move, falling away, and it's a perfectly executed shot there by Taylor as she picks up her second made basket here tonight.
The freshman out of Davenport's been kind of quiet here tonight, but when your team's rolling like McKendree is, you don't have to go, too crazy and score points every time.
There she is on the defensive end, gets a partial deflection into the hands of Slings. Trying to go all the way, bounce pass inside. Taylor with the look, but misses it, and the rebound's collected by Rockhurst, and that's just a little bit of what plagued the freshman last week against Quincy and Upper Iowa.
Yeah, an incredible pass there by Slings to Taylor, just couldn't finish, and I'm sure she's going to kick herself about that.
Garcia continues to be a one-woman wrecking crew inside, gets her own miss, puts it right back up and in. So make it 10 points and 7 rebounds already for the center. Parks going right at her, and it's not only rejected, but it falls into the hands of Parks, who was sitting out of bounds. It will be Rockhurst basketball.
Yeah, kind of one of those odd plays where she could have got her own rebound, except, as you mentioned, she was on the ground out of bounds. So, unfortunately, no rebound there for Bailey Parks.
Mentioned Parks first in rebounds per game. Garcia tied for 10th in rebounds per game in the GLVC coming in tonight. So, two big-time customers there. The three-point shot, it's short, and Parks able to travel a little bit of distance there to collect what is her 7th rebound.
Meyer took a little bit of a shot there to the face. It's kind of grimacing, but seems to be all right. We'll keep an eye out on that.
White now, she challenges Garcia, but it's another miss just barely off the front of the rim. Trying to take down the top shot blocking option for the Hawks, but a couple of misfires there from McKendree. Frank now. Trying to set this one towards the corner. White was able to read that play, but only could get a few fingertips to it to knock it out of bounds with 13 on the shot clock.
Now, Chloe White probably wanted to come up with that steal, does the second best option for McKendree, and just knocks it out of bounds.
Garcia now. The shot clock approaching 10. Spins right into Taylor. Great job there by the freshman, but then it is Sullivan, I do believe, on the backside who gets the offensive rebound, and then she was fouled. So, mentioned how Rockhurst on Saturday was able to take it to Missouri S&T in terms of a 20-2 advantage on second chance points, and we're starting to see that a little bit here to start the third with them and McKendree. Sullivan misses the first free throw. She was a second-team All-GOVC selection last year when she led the team with 14.2 points and 7.7 rebounds. For her career, she has made the second team 2 times, the third team 1 time, and her first year with Rockhurst, she was named to the all-freshman team. We have to get back in defense now as Meyer gets all the way to the low block, and then she is hacked from behind. Took a stumble, and she has earned 2 free throws the hard way.
I don't know if there's really an easy way of going to the free throw line. Is there, Josh?
I guess as far as if you're big and strong and you take a little bit of contact, and that would just be about it. Other than that, though, usually you see players getting their money's worth on those fouls. That time, that was for sure, as that foul is the second going against Garcia, with Meyer now at the line. Able to knock down the free throw. That was such a clutch shot on Saturday. Again, a tense situation. McKendree down by 3. Ball goes to the corner. Great work by Taylor to get to the offensive rebound, and then Meyer was left open from 3, and she knocked down the shot that at the time you felt was going to send the game to overtime and give McKendree a real shot to pick up that one in Fayette, but again, the cards just did not fall in their favor. And such a shot maybe will get lost in the annals of history, but the senior from Hubertus, Wisconsin, it was a big moment for her. Bearcats still maintaining an 8-point lead. This is Diener now. Cut off by Slings. Now Diener again gets inside. Tough bounce pass, not a lot of room there to send it inside. Duncan able to cause the tie-up, but it will stay with Rockhurst with the shot clock at 10.
Well, head coach Larry Park letting his team know that it's not a new shot clock, so they have to be very careful on getting the shot off.
A couple of quick passes, they get this one inside. Frank, though, is converged upon by nearly the entire McKendree team, and eventually it's Parks who's able to rip away at the last second to pick up the steal. She She's been extremely active tonight on the defensive end. A lot of steals, or at least deflections, forcing turnovers.
We keep calling her name kind of on the offensive side of things too, but she's been on fire from both sides of the ball, as you mentioned, Josh.
A near miss from Taylor. Great hustle from White. Three-pointer, Parks. Yes, ma'am. Make it 19 for Parks as she knocks down her first three-point attempt of the night. Maybe it's that side of the floor. I'm not entirely sure yet. We'll see if that comes to fruition, as that long-range effort from Diener goes in and out. That's McKendree's first three-pointer of the evening as a team.
Well, sometimes you just need to switch sides on the court for things to kind of click.
Parks now gets the loose ball, goes up. That one just goes in and out. Crowded out at the last second by Garcia, who pushes it up the floor for Rockhurst. Hawks now get this one in the lane. Impressive shot that time by Diener, the redshirt sophomore out of Cedarburg, Wisconsin. Averaging 7.5 points per game coming into tonight. Slings now, off the shot fake, wide open. And that is her shot. She's knocked down plenty of mid-range efforts here tonight.
Yeah, I can't leave Emma Slings wide open in that area. She will make you pay, as she did there.
Sullivan now stops in the lane. Tough shot there. Not her full shooting motion. And then Parks with a little bit of a stiff arm there to Garcia.
She had the rebound, wanted a little bit of space, told her to get out of my space.
Rockhurst now off the steal, up the floor. Sullivan lines up the three-pointer. That one in and out. And Parks picks up the rebound and make it the 13th double-double of the season for Bailey Parks. 19 points, 10 rebounds with just under 5:30 left to go in the third quarter already.
I mean, we were kind of already watching it in the second quarter. We're kind of surprised that Bailey Parks didn't get it a little bit sooner than that, but a few fouls kind of got her in a little bit of trouble there in that first half, but congratulations, Bailey Parks, on another double-double.
Kira Taylor's got such a motor on her. Another tough miss, but stuck with the play, got her own miss, and was able to finish that time for second chance points. And we're going to get a foul here at half court as Sullivan ran into some trouble, but White's going to be guilty of a hold at the last second. And after this latest run there by Rockhurst, by McKendree pushing to 13, there are going to be some substitutions for the Hawks on their side. They'll have a little bit of time to talk it over as we've hit our immediate timeout. 56-43 your score. You're watching McKendree basketball here on the GLVC Sports Network.
Are you ready to make an investment in yourself? McKendree University is the answer. Nationally ranked McKendree University offers a personalized and supportive educational experience to maximize each student's potential. McKendree's Clear Path initiative guarantees lower tuition rates and fees, providing Bearcats a clear path to graduating with less debt. It's private education at a public school price. Enroll today at mckendree.edu.
Welcome back, folks, on the GLVC Sports Network. The offensive outburst from both teams has slowed down here to begin the third quarter. McKendree shooting 36.4% from the field. Rockhurst shooting 25%, including an 0 for 3 mark from three-point range, which has allowed McKendree to get out to what is now a 13-point lead here in the third. As the Bearcats right now are getting it from a few different players, but still being very much led by Bailey Parks now with 19 points, 10 rebounds, and a team high of 3 steals here so far in this contest. Again, the likes of Felici, Sadie Conway, and looks though for the first time, Lauren Sandstrom back in for Rockhurst for the second time this evening. She's got the ball now over there on the wing. Along with Avery Porter into the game. Shot clock down to 6. Sullivan's got it backing out, but now faced with a double team in the corner, and she throws it away to Slings.
Well, this Bearcat squad must have done their homework because they are doing a great job of shutting down Keegan Sullivan here tonight. We mentioned it's just been kind of the Keegan Sullivan show for Rockhurst. She's kind of their leaders here for this Hawks team, and McKendree doing a great job of shutting her down here tonight.
Slings trying to get that one into Parks, but a little bit too high for her. So off the turnover now. ROCKHURST, they get to the block, and Conway able to pick up the basket there. Nice take for her. She makes her first shot attempt of the evening. Make it 35 total points on the year in her 24th appearance of the season for Sadie Conway. Taylor on the other end, great find inside as she was left open on the block, and she'll pick up 2 more points.
Well, we mentioned leaving Emma Slings open in her range. She'll make those shots easily. The same thing goes for Taylor. You leave her open in any area in the paint, and she's going to make those shots quite easily.
Timeout, ROCKHURST, 58-45 your score. McKendree up on the scoreboard. We'll step away alongside with the teams, and we will come back on the other side of this break. Don't go away. .45 is your score. McKendree are up right now with 4:01 left to go in the third quarter against ROCKHURST, who have the basketball out on the side. The 15th meeting between the two programs. McKendree trying to move to a winning streak of 3 in this matchup. And they are right back to that little bit of a 1-3-1 look against this Hawks offense. Felici now. Baseline drive back outside. This is Sandstrom. Goes for the mid-range shot, left it short. Parks flies in to pick up her 11th rebound of the night, but immediately has it ripped away. Pass inside, off the turnover. It's a quick 2 points. And Sullivan, probably the most open she's been all night, able to pick up the basket there. Parks now, trying to get the better part of Sullivan. Bounce pass inside, and a foul from behind against Sandstrom at the last second as Parks went for the extra pass. And she'll set up Taylor at the free throw line for 2.
Yeah, the freshman unhappy with that call as she has a little emotion towards the referee, but a foul is a foul, and now Taylor at the free throw line.
Able to knock down the first. Sandstrom probably backing her own prowess, so she's got 12 blocks coming into tonight in her first year with ROCKHURST, but she'll get hit with her second foul of the game. Taylor has a little bit of a tough season at the line. He's 67% shooter and misses the second one there. Eventually it's knocked out of bounds last off of McKendree. But still, having a very impressive first year coming out of Davenport North High School. And you feel as though, along with Parks, they're going to form one of the better duos in the GLVC for quite some time over the next few years. Sullivan now gets this one back to Sandstrom on the pick and roll. Little 2-player game here, but Sullivan almost guilty of getting trapped in the corner. Forces it back outside. Shot clock at 6. Porter, another floater from her. This one too strong, and Parks once again cleans up the glass for the Bearcats.
Well, just like McKendree's doing to Keegan Sullivan, bring the double team, they've kind of figured out, hey, we might want to double team Bailey Parks, and they've done that very well here to start the second half.
Duncan now, shot clock at 10. Taylor trying to take advantage of the extra attention to Parks. She's going to draw another foul. It was Sullivan and Sandstrom who were trying to get their act together as far as that double team was concerned to force a potential turnover. And it will be the third foul against Sandstrom, as Garcia and Frank are going to check back in. Meyer's going to head out for McKendree, as White is back in for the Bearcats. So Parks once again is going to run up against Garcia, who's able to beat her. Now pass back outside. Duncan left open. Three-pointer off to the left. Rebound collected that time by Garcia, who is now 1 rebound away from her own double-double. Sullivan also potentially in that area. She's got 6 and 6. Parks with another steal ahead of the pack. Picks up 2 more points to move to 21 on the night to go along with 12 rebounds and now a team high 4 steals.
Well, Bailey Parks gets the steal, gets the basket, and is quickly back on defense, ready to do that sequence all over again.
Porter too strong again on the floater. Garcia, though, gets to that double-double, but she can't pick up 2 more points to add to it.
Well, we mentioned, Josh, both teams kind of going yin and yang. One person gets a double-double, another team has to get a double-double. So it's just been one of those matchups here tonight.
That's a great rip there by Frank at the last possible second on Taylor, who's going to head to the bench, and her fellow freshman Foey is going to check in to spell her. And it's going to be Diener who will return for Rockhurst, and she will take the place of Felici.
Yeah, Foey doing a great job of coming off the bench for head coach Kerry Kirchhoff and the Bearcats squad, kind of being that +2 for Bailey Parks.
Slings now, the fall away off to the left. Parks again, offensive rebound, 2 more points. Just keep tagging it on here tonight. Bailey Parks, another one of her finest performances in a season of fine performances for McKendree.
I mean, we have a list of candidates of who we could potentially talk to at the end of our post-game, Josh. I think there's kind of one person leading that pack, but we'll see how the rest of this game goes and see at the end who we'll talk to.
3-point shot from Frank, able to knock that one down. So the Rockhurst have seceded a lot more room to the Bearcats, but they still know that they've got that 3-point shooting in their back pocket to try to even the odds.
Well, it was on fire for them in the first quarter. Kind of fell short in that second, and now we'll see if Rockhurst can get things back.
Speaking of short, Parks was short on that 3, and then the ball careened off of somebody out of bounds. Everybody supporting the white and purple seem to think it is McKendree basketball. No surprise there, but it will be possession awarded to the Hawks.
Yeah, that Bearcats bench was up on their feet, quickly pointing and saying, hey, that should be our ball. The head coach, Kerry Kirchhoff, giving our referees a piece of her mind, too.
13-point lead, 45 seconds left to go here in the third. Rockhurst trying to come up with the same formula they ended the first with. Diener now. Long time at the top of the key here. Now eventually going to get this one to a teammate. On the drive, this is Conway who flips this one up off the glass and gets that to go. Conway's had a couple of great finishes here today off the bench.
What a great move there to get the 2 points there and try and get some kind of momentum going here for Rockhurst.
Slings now, backs this one out. 15 seconds left. Right now it's Frank. Foey's going to come out to provide a screen. Clock now approaching 5. Slings goes. Couple dribble moves. Pass inside. It's a lofted one. Partially tipped at the buzzer. It's Foey, and this one's going to roll just in and out. Oh, it was a last-second pass. You almost felt as though Sling should have put it up, but Foey got the look and got it off at the right time, but just could not get that one to drop. But still, a fantastic response in the third quarter by the Bearcats as they move to an 11-point lead as we are headed for one final quarter here inside the Harry M. Staples Sports Center. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back here with the conclusion of this matchup on the other side. Welcome back, folks, on the GLVC Sports Network. Time for the final corner between McKendree and Rockhurst. Bearcats have themselves an 11-point lead here to begin things, and they will start with the basketball offensively. trying to put together the finishing touches on an overall complete game. Not sure again if they have the knowledge of that Saturday will be their final game of the season, but they are playing very much with a lot of pride and a lot of production being put together here so far in this one. As Foey inside to her fellow freshman Crawford, who had to spin around and try to flip that one up in a hurry before the defense got to her and just left it a little short. Frank now, off the fake, tried to force that one inside. Foey gets in the passing lane. Now she's going to start the break, trying to go coast to coast. Foey is going to be hit with the charge. Absolute poetry in motion there from Foey, a la little Nikola Jokic, trying to go all the way, but just lost a little bit of track of the defense in front of her, and she'll get guilty with the offensive foul, but I'm sure a lot of people in the gym are not going to be too upset about it.
A lot of smiles on that Bearcat bench, a smile from Carrie Kirkhoff as they knew what was going on, but a great play there by Foey.
Now it's White, look at the tenacity, forcing the strip. Parks hits the floor, but loses possession. Frank now comes away with the basketball, left it short, down low, we're going to get a jump ball. A little bit of grit, a little bit of toughness being shown here by the Bearcats to open things up in the fourth, as they've come out swinging here to begin things against Rockhurst.
Well, you mentioned just kind of a complete game, and the Bearcats want to complete this game with a little bit of grit.
Shot clock is down to 8. Another tough pass inside. This time, though, it is caught and put up in a hurry, that time by Sullivan. She continues to add to her lofty career points total for Rockhurst. And that was a tough pass inside, made even tougher by the fact that it was kicked. So it will be McKendree basketball. 23 points, 13 rebounds, 4 steals tonight for Bailey Parks. 10 points for Kira Taylor, 10 points for Taylor Foey. The only other double-digit scorer is Rebeca García for Rockhurst. She's got 10. Parks. And she is rejected that time, I believe, by Diener. Not bad for Diener, as she stands in at 5'10". Parks listed at 5'11", so not too much of a difference there in terms of height, but good timing and good reflexes there by Diener to knock that one out. Shot clock approaching 10. Slings. Gets this one out of the corner. Now has to hit it back outside to Meyer. Flips this one quickly in for Taylor. Tough finish with the left hand. Misses. Gets her own miss back. And able to draw contact inside on the second attempt. And she is headed back to the line, where so far tonight she is 2 for 4.
Well, Josh, you mentioned second chance opportunities for Rockhurst back in the first half. McKendree kind of doing a great job here in the second half. Just kind of not getting those shots off, but getting those rebounds and getting fouled at the same time. And now an opportunity here for Taylor to add some points as she makes her first free throw.
Yeah, fairly even as far as the overall boards is concerned, but McKendree leading the way as far as offensive rebounds tonight, as Taylor's knocked down that free throw, as they themselves have got, it looks to be 12 offensive rebounds so far in this one. So, real good team effort in that area of this game here tonight by Coach Kirkhoff and her team. So we're going to get a foul at the top of the key there. That will go against Macy Meyer. And Rockhurst will take this one out on the side. That's going to be Meyer's third, so something just to keep an eye on here with 8:16 left to go in this contest. Sullivan now. Inside, it's a late pass. Garcia was already cutting one way, and that one will go out of play for a turnover. We've seen this a lot tonight. You know, a lot of dribble penetration getting in the lane, but then each team, is looking for that extra pass, for that clear-cut look at the basket. Sometimes the timing's just been a little bit off as far as threading the needle on some of these passes.
Well, just sometimes, like even in hockey, when you're a fan watching the Blues at home and you're telling them to shoot the puck instead of just keep passing it around, sometimes one too many pass is one too many pass.
Well, whatever it was working the other night against the Kraken. What a win that was for St. Louis.
Yeah, who would have guessed? 7 goals for the St. Louis Blues. I did not have that on my bingo card this week.
Well, Blues kind of in a similar situation, trying to get into the playoff picture. That was what McKendree were looking at tonight, as Taylor, once again, this time taking a shot to the face. As I harken back to your question earlier, is there really an easy way to get to the line? There's certainly a lot of tough ways to get there, and Kira Taylor right now is suffering from some of the toughest as she is back to the line so far in this one. She is 4 for 6. 12 points and 5 rebounds so far tonight. She's also got a couple steals. And right now she is able to knock down the free throw. 13 steals tonight for McKendree. It's got to be one of their better totals here this season as far as forcing those turnovers head on from Rockhurst.
Well, she now will also have a few bumps and bruises at that free throw line after that foul, but good job by Taylor to make both free throws here for the Bearcats.
McKendree still maintaining a 13-point lead as Felici gets inside. That one is rejected. Bearcats quickly up the floor, 3-on-2 situation. Meyer rolls this one inside. Taylor again. Seems as though these teams are stuck in a time warp as Taylor back to the free throw line after another foul inside.
Taylor just going at the net as much as she can, and if there's a Rockhurst player there, she's going to go full first at them. And Rockhurst doing a just job of fouling Taylor.
The Hawks are starting to see some players accumulate a lot of fouls. That's the 4th foul against Frank. As it looks as though White is waiting to check in for Taylor. He misses that second free throw. Rebound, though, up for grabs. It's Parks who gets to it. Tried to launch that off of Sullivan out of bounds, but Rockhurst able to come away with it. Ball was rotated to the corner. Campbell now will back this one out. And the Hawks now looking to reset as Felici looking for Garcia inside, but skied that pass out against the back wall, and it'll be another turnover forced by McKendree.
Well, you talked about the foul trouble coming up here for Rockhurst. Now we'll have to kind of see what the bench depth has for the Hawks and if they can contend with this Bearcat squad.
Nice deflection there by Felici. Gets to that pass now. Able to break away from a couple of different McKendree defenders. Dumps this one inside. Garcia with a good look, and she flicks that one up with the ease to pick up another 2 points. She's got a team-high 12 so far now on 5 for 10 shooting. A comfortable lead, but still not out of reach as far as things stand with about 6:30 left to go in this one.
Now, we mentioned anything can happen on any given night, and as Bearcat fan, you want to see them continue to put points up as Taylor does a great job there, but as you mentioned, they have a lead. Can they contain and maintain that lead here for the remaining 6 minutes?
And now this time it's going to be Garcia who is able to draw contact inside off of a last-second feed. And she will head to the line where she is so far 2 for 2 this evening. 2 subs upcoming for Rockhurst, as it's going to be Porter and Conway who will check back in. And it'll be Felici and Diener who will make way. Garcia last year averaged 6.5 points per game and 4.8 rebounds per game. Led the team with 25 blocks. Had a season high of 16 points versus Baker University. And went for an impressive 11 points and 10 rebounds versus UIndy. So she has stepped up a lot this year. She actually had 7 blocks in a game earlier this season versus Illinois Springfield. And I mentioned had a career high 19 points versus Truman State. So one of those players who has waited her turn and has really stepped up this year for Rockhurst. Right on cue. Gets to that entry pass inside for Taylor. It almost feels though McKendree might be forcing it a little bit too much in that regard from that angle. Now Garcia gets it inside, trying to go right back up over the freshman, and she does. And it is now a 10-point lead for McKendree.
Well, you mentioned a comfortable lead, Josh, as Rockhurst cuts it down to 10. And now Emma Slings is going to slow this pace down just a little bit. And that's what the Bearcats need to do. Just play it to their own pace.
Ball rotated to the near side. Slings directing traffic. Shot clock down to 5, though. Parks now going to start her move. Rejected by Garcia. And that ball will go out of bounds. There's only 1 second left on the shot clock. Meyer will check in for McKendree. And Sandstrom will check in for Rockhurst. Bearcats have very limited options here with just 1 second to work with.
Yeah, you would assume they'll just inbound it quickly here. Right to Taylor, does that, throws it up.
Able to get it to go before the buzzer, but it was always going to be a tough shot. And Rockhurst now come away with it after another defensive stop. 3-point shot left open, top of the key, short. Rebound, Parks commands the glass once again. She's got 15, 2 away from tying her career high she just set last week. Taylor gets the ball spinning away, and then Bit of a wild finish there, as Sandstrom did well not to concede the foul.
Yeah, Taylor looking for a foul. Bearcat fans looking for a foul. They're going to have to look just a little bit harder here.
So Porter will quickly bring this one into half court for Rockhurst. 5 minutes left, plenty of time to close the gap here with this 10-point deficit. Conway now has had a lot of tough finishes inside. Can't add another one to her repertoire as she got all the way to the rack, but her momentum, too much for her to handle. And now McKendree. Slings now, gets a screen, outside three-pointer, in and out. And Sullivan gets to that rebound. Make it 10 for her tonight. Looking for 2 more points to pick up another double-double. Sandstrom, the three-pointer, off the glass and in. Timeout, Coach Kirchhoff and McKendree, as the lead is back down to just single digits with 4:26 left to go. We're going to step away alongside these teams. Rockhurst making things interesting here, but still down by 7 to McKendree. We'll be right back here on the GOVC Sports Network.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor.
It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Welcome back, folks, here on the GOVC Sports Network. 70-63 your score. McKendree trying to hold off a late rally here from Rockhurst with 4:26 left to go on a busy night in the GOVC Conference. So final score in St. Louis, Maryville with a 75-59 win over Southwest Baptist, who will be here in Lebanon on Saturday. Drury looks as though they're going to come away with a big-time road win, 59-53 over Umsel, trying to hop Quincy, potentially, who are down by 5 with 2:41 left to go versus Lewis. But again, the game I've been keeping my eye on, Lincoln still up by 5 with a minute 22 left to go against Missouri S&T, looking for their first ever GOVC win as a program. But what we have here before us has turned interesting after that late flurry from the Hawks. McKendree now trying to reset things offensively. Skip pass from Slings. Meyer, though, had her follow-up deflected. Ball is loose in the corner. Could be anybody's, but it's going to be Parks. Now again, pass inside, deflected. Shot clock's at 1, and McKendree do not get a shot off, and it's a shot clock violation, and obviously not what Coach Kirchhoff was hoping for out of the timeout from the Bearcats. And Rockhurst now, you have to say, are really starting to gain some momentum.
Well, Rockhurst kind of going back to their same formula that they did in that first half, kind of connecting on some threes, and we'll see if that keeps the Hawks back in this game as it kept them close in that first half against McKendree.
Campbell back in, along with Frank, who's playing with 4 fouls. She's got the ball now with Parks guarding her. Remember, Campbell began the game making 3 of her first 4 3-point attempts. Has only shot 1 since and missed it. Shot clock's at 8. Diener now faces a double team. Taylor and Slings able to get her to the sideline, forces it back out. 3-point shot, nothing but net with the shot clock at 1 for Ella Campbell. Speak of the devil. She's now 4 for 6 from downtown.
Yeah, Campbell went on an impressive run in the first half, kind of cooled down, has found her footing here in the latter part of the fourth quarter, and has her team right back in this game.
Just a 4-point lead for McKendree. Parks has it on the outside, looking to go high-low potentially with Taylor. Shot clock already down to 10. Taylor now going to go to work. Puts this one up over the shoulder and gets it to go. Tough finish there by the freshman.
Back to a 6-point lead here for the Bearcats, but anything can happen.
Sullivan now had a lot of hands grabbing at that basketball. Might have put off her shot at the last second. Rebound collected that time by Taylor. She's got 17 tonight, 5 for 14 from the field, but she's 7 for 10 from the line. She also has 5 rebounds. Parks now. Doesn't like the look inside. Now high-low. Meyer back out. Duncan, three-point shot. Too strong off the back iron. Meyer gets to the rebound and to the floor before everybody. And McKendree with another chance here to add to their lead with just over 2 minutes left to go. Shot clock back down to 10. Bodies colliding in the paint, and we're going to get a foul as Meyer hit the deck. And that will go against Garcia. And that will be her third foul. And on the backside of things, we're going to get a timeout for McKendree. 2:01 left, 72 to 66. It's McKendree basketball here, groups, and obviously Bailey Parks has had the hot hand tonight, as she is apt to have. Taylor chipping in with 19 points, so the focus, of course, is going to be on the inside, but with McKendree here, what would you like to see as far as navigating? We're down to the nitty-gritty here with just 2 minutes basically left to go.
Well, I'm sure that's why head coach Carrie Kirchhoff called that timeout. She kind of wants to go over the game plan here for the final 2 minutes with just a 6-point lead. But you mentioned Bailey Parks has had the hot hand. Taylor Foey kind of backing her up. But Taylor has been explosive here in this second half. So look for her to get the ball maybe more in her hands here as time continues to dwindle. And on the defensive side, kind of just have to go back to what they were doing in that first half. Shutting down Rockhurst, making sure they cannot get those 3 shots off at the right opportune moment for Rockhurst. That's what kept them in this game in that first half, was those 3-point shots. Slow those down, kind of make them force them away into the paint and see if they can get points off it that way.
Slings, Duncan, Meyer, Foey, and Parks. The lineup right now being rolled out by McKendree, met by Felici, Sullivan, Diener, Garcia, and Frank for Rockhurst. Shot clock back down to 10. Parks now puts the ball on the floor. Gets this one to the corner. Duncan, couple dribbles. Foey, left open, mid-range shot. It's good. And with that basket, Taylor Foey ties her season high of 12 points. She does so in a big-time way in conference play. Well, as we mentioned, Taylor Foey's kind of done that compliment hand to Bailey Parks and kind of even stepped up when Parks was on the bench. Now we'll see if she can step up here one more time on the defensive side of things. Sullivan lines up the three-pointer. That one misses. Foey gets who is able to pick up that rebound, and she's now got a couple of those to go along with 2 steals with those 12 points. Bearcats, you feel as though if they can get a basket here, it might just be enough to close things out. Slings now. Whips this one inside. Foey gets her hands just to it. Parks now. Shot clock at 8. Ball is loose. Both teams hitting the floor. Great hustle. And eventually it will be a jump ball. Possession arrow favors McKendree, but there's only 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Yeah, and it's time for that nitty-gritty, and you wonder if Rockhurst is going to start fouling here. And as you mentioned, Josh, if they make this basket, things get just a little bit more interesting here for the Bearcats, as they could potentially just hold on to this lead. And now they're going to ask for the mop to come out here on the court, wipe off a little bit of a wet spot. I'm surprised it's gone this long without asking for the mop. We're almost near the end of the game. Both these teams have really laid it all on the line. Some great hustle there, but we've seen it, especially at midcourt, a lot of 50-50 plays between these two teams. And don't tell these two teams they got nothing to play for. They have really gone at it here tonight. It has been great back and forth between these two sides. They've obviously got one more contest left on Saturday between them, but you got to admire this type of effort and this type of execution here late on in the season. Well, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, both teams just looking to end their season for W's. And it might be the dagger there from Myers. She gets the mid-range shot to go. 10-point lead for the Bearcats, trying to close out the final 50 seconds. Conway now with the partial Euro step to split a couple of defenders, and she got enough of somebody's body to draw the foul. I believe it's going to go against Taylor Foey. If that's the case, that'll be her second foul. And it will. So Sadie Conway at the line, the freshman out of Nixa, Missouri. And Taylor's going to check back in for McKendree, and I believe for the first time tonight we will see Victoria Swingle, the freshman out of Grain Valley, Missouri. She had a high of 9 points on the season last week versus Lincoln. As Conway misses that first free throw. She also had 10 points last week versus Lincoln, as Rockhurst were able to take advantage of their matchup with the Blue Tigers, who are still holding on to a 6-point lead with 19 seconds left. Could be some history tonight in the GLVC. As we got ourselves a 9-point lead here from McKendree, trying to get across half court, and they do so. Meyer thought about dumping that one inside to Taylor, but wisely brings this one out to choose some more time off the clock. And eventually Swingle is going to be guilty of the 5th foul needed to get McKendree into the bonus, so Slings will head to the line, where over the course of this season, she is a near 79% shooter from the charity stripe. Frank and Campbell, a couple of sharpshooters, will check back in for Rockhurst, as they're going to have to start making threes in the same capacity they were making them earlier in this game. But again, you got to give credit to McKendree for slowing things down in that regard. Still, though, it looks as though Rockhurst are going to shoot above 45% from 3 tonight, even if they get off an attempt here at the end. But in the end, just could not stop the totality of this McKendree team. White will check back in for Slings, with McKendree back up by 11. And I believe we're going to get a timeout from Rockhurst and Coach Park. Going to try the very best here to draw something up, but again, groups, it does look like McKendree are going to move to 14-11 overall, 10-9, an important mark there in the GLVC, and 9-3 at home this season. And yes, Bailey Parks, of course, has put up together the statistical anomaly as far as the box score is concerned, but when you look across the board here tonight, you got to be impressed with everybody involved from an offensive perspective to keep things going pretty much throughout the course of those 4 quarters, and then defensively picking things up here in the 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, you got to love seeing the numbers that Bailey Parks has been putting up week by week for this Bearcat squad. But she's just one person. It takes a team to get those victories, and Bailey Parks has had a great supporting cast here tonight. Not saying the players on the court have, are any lower than Bailey Parks. They're at a top level too, but Taylor Fohe adding to the mix. Taylor adding to the mix. So those 2 players plus Bailey Parks is a deadly combination. Again, this is the future for Bearcats basketball. It's got to be pretty impressive.
Making another 3-pointer sprinkle, impressive. How about a 4-for-4 shooting performance from Akili Felici? She's got 12 points. As I gained her at my notes, she actually hadn't scored in 4 straight games, so forget about that. She's got a very impressive 4 threes tonight, a transfer from Nebraska Omaha, where she averaged 2.5 points per game across 3 seasons, playing a total of 68 games. So very much a player with a lot of experience. She's a grad student transfer this season and has very much looked the part of someone with Division I experience here tonight, as she is right behind Garcia for the team lead. And again, Ella Campbell also with 12 points. So, Rockhurst, again, as far as things are concerned, a lot of, impressive marks. You come in with the 3-point shooting. They were first in the GLVC, averaging 4.33 blocks per game coming into tonight. As a team, they've got 6. These rosters are similarly made up. McKendree, 7 upperclassmen versus 10 underclassmen. Rockhurst, 9 upperclassmen versus 10 underclassmen. So as far as futures are concerned, while these teams may not be making the GLVC tournament, there's a lot to like about them going into next year.
Mm-hmm.
So off with the timeout, 27.4 on the clock, and thanks to the 3-pointer from Felici, this game will be extended further, and Slings will be put back on the line where she went perfect in her first trip here tonight. So offense for defense, Campbell and Frank back in for Rockhurst, with Slings, who talk about Bailey Parks and the jump. Only averaging was like 2.2 points per game last year. Now all of a sudden she's the leading scorer in the GLVC on average. Think about Emma Slings. She appeared in only 11 games last year. And you feel as though over the course of this season that she's someone that they could not live without, especially when you think about Claire Braden going down. From the perimeter standpoint of consistency, ball handling, defense, Emma Slings has been there throughout the course of this year. And just wasn't able to pick up that free throw there. So off of the miss and the rebound, we will get ourselves another timeout. So for those of you waiting on the second half of our doubleheader, a very pivotal men's contest. You want to talk about postseason implications in mathematics. I'm not sure Albert Einstein could figure out the mathematics behind who needs to win at what time and in what game here tonight between Rockhurst and McKendree, elsewhere as well. We will be doing a lot of scoreboard watching there, and the intrigue will go into the night as far as things are concerned. But regardless of those other games, McKendree Rockhurst is going to be a good one coming up here in just a little while. But just waiting on the finish of this one. 79-70 is your score, and I can finally say it with all certainty. Congratulations to Lincoln, their first ever GLVC women's basketball program win as they take down the Miners out of Missouri S&T 61-53. Again, you never want to wish ill will and that type of a season on anybody. It's always tough. You think about Upper Iowa a couple seasons ago coming in to the GLVC. You want to have your new members in, welcome with open arms, and it got to be a big win for them tonight, taking down the Miners.
Well, they're going to be partying tonight there, but a lot of basketball still to be played here tonight in Lebanon, Illinois, as 26.2 seconds remain.
Sullivan now gets this one to the corner. Rocker's going to have to put something up. Sullivan does, and that one is short. Rebound collected by Taylor, and she will be fouled, but she has been pretty good here tonight from the line. 7 for 10. She's had the most attempts, an opportunity to get to 20 points to join Parks in that regard. And most likely it's going to be a little bit short of her career high of 22, but an opportunity to get in right behind that with 21. And again, this is a player, you go through lumps as a freshman. She went on an impressive run there of 10 straight double-digit games, hit a little bit of a wall last week against good opposition. Kiera Taylor bouncing back here tonight in a big way now up to 20 points in this one.
Well, I'm sure Taylor will be happy with 10 points. She'll be happy with 20 points. She'll be happy with 21. So something to be happy about, but also coming away with hopefully the W here in just a matter of seconds.
Late subs here for McKendree, and feel it's appropriate on a day where we lost the legend in Gene Hackman to quote his character from Hoosiers in Normandale: if you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, the best that you can be. I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game. In my book, we're going to be winners. Well, here tonight for the Bearcats, they're the winners on the scoreboard as they're going to come away with the 81-70 victory over Rockhurst. Fantastic night across the board. Bailey Parks will get the headlines with 23 points, 15